Hey everyone, Pushing Up Roses here, and today we're looking at a game that involves many quests. Heroic quests of defeating foes, helping quirky characters, interacting with mysterious objects, all while traversing a fantastical land. Adventure awaits us, my friends. Adventure and... Oh, no. No. You thought I was reviewing the Fable game from 2004. No. That's not the right Fable. This is the Fable I'm reviewing.
Let's get naked and take a swim in the lake. You first.
This is Fable, a point-and-click adventure game from 1996, developed by Symbiosis Interactive. I'm going to be completely honest with you, this is a bad game, there's no nice way to put it. It's underdeveloped, convoluted, and does a piss-poor job representing the adventure game genre, but I want to look at this train wreck anyway. You play a character named Quickthorpe, which I can only imagine is a reference of sorts to Guybrush Threepwood. There is no intro, you're just thrown right into some dialogue. You're told to defeat 4 different foes that hold mystic gems, and you need them to discover the secrets of some ancient folk because God knows why! Look, real talk, this story makes no sense. You're a hero doing hero things, it matters not. I can usually forgive a dud story if it at least makes a little sense. I mean, hell, King's Quest VI isn't exactly a masterpiece when it comes to story, but you can follow it. I really could not follow Fable, which is quite a feat considering its insane lack of substance. The main character is portrayed as a pervy, cat-hating asshole the majority of the time.
It's a cat. Yuck. I hate cats. Cripes, this place is crawling with cats. That explains the aroma.
Sometimes he has polite dialogue. Sometimes he's pervy despite having a girlfriend who you never see in this game. Sometimes he's a jerk for no reason. Sometimes he's heroic. There's some pretty extreme tonal whiplash here. And speaking of characters, most of them do not matter. In fact, you can get through this game just by completing the inventory object puzzles and not talking to anyone. Not that you would want to, none of them have anything important to say.
You're crazy. It's a good way to catch pneumonia and a one-way ticket to Casket Town.
Casket Town? I want to go there. Sign me up. We're going to Casket Town. I did talk to all the characters because that's what I like about adventure games, the interesting, often fantastical creatures and people you meet on your journey. It's why I love the later King's Quest games and a lot of the LucasArts games. But these characters rarely have anything charming to say, and after your initial interaction with them, you don't really see them or talk to them again. Here's a quirky little character. I was excited to find him. I love quirky characters in adventure games.
And that a dream is nothing more than a figment of your imagination.
Oh god. So this character was just a figment for some reason, and you literally never see him again. He served no purpose, didn't help you with any puzzles, he was just there to be annoying and then disappear. Though if I did have to say one positive thing about this game right off the bat, is that the artwork is pretty nice. The settings are lovely, as you can see, and I guess the character portraits are pretty good. Oh Jesus Christ, kill it now! There's a lot of sexy female characters Quickthorpe can hit on, and that's honestly all you can do with them. They have no personality and they do not affect the overall story. One of the characters was glitched out completely. I'm not sure if this was due to the way I was playing it, but I was playing it on the original hardware it was intended for. I used my compact Rosario for this baby. The mermaid, who is trying to woo you into your death, has dialogue that keeps cutting off and popping up way too fast. I could barely do what I needed to because it kept glitching.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful, you. Oh, you big. Help me, please. You. Oh, Mr. Wonderful, you.
And this is the perfect segue to talk about the UI. It's atrocious. I don't know how it got this messed up, and it's hard for me to explain why it's bad. You'd really have to play it for yourself, but the actions get very confusing since there's no action menu like many adventure games had at the time. And right-clicking to get through the cursor set should also not be an issue, but in this game it is. Sometimes when you look at something you get a close-up you need to interact with. This includes doors, which I feel like you should just be able to, go on through, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to go through the door in the close-up, sometimes not. It also took me forever to figure out that if an inventory item is still in your cursor set after using it, you have to click through and drop it back into your inventory before picking up something else. Using items together is tedious, and the inventory box stays on the screen in the most inconvenient times. You can press the spacebar to get rid of it, which you will have to do. I really don't know if I'm doing a good job describing this or if it sounds as bad as it actually is, but I guarantee you that if you play this game, it's going to be an issue. This is especially frustrating because by 1996, most adventure games had UI like this down pat. Sierra games often opted for an action menu at the top of the screen. LucasArts had a set of verbs and also went on later to action menus as well. And though sometimes there were too many actions to choose from, they at least worked for their intended purpose. In Fable, in order to use an inventory item on something, you have to take it. Not use it, which is also an option, but take it. It's little things like this that just make it frustrating and not up to par with other games that were out at the time. It makes me feel like this. Well said, mutant spider monster. Well said. You'd think the map navigation wouldn't be so bad, but you'd be wrong. Much like the Monkey Island games, each place you go has a world map. You would think you could just click on the markers with the pop-ups here to just go there. But nope, it will stop you at every setting in between and make you walk through it. I could see this being the case for places you haven't been, but even if you visited every screen, you cannot just quick travel there. What is the point of having the map?
This planet is really connected and screwed up.
You can say that again. I think the biggest disappointment I have with this game is that it had so much potential. This is exactly the type of adventure game I would have loved to play as a kid. It has the fantasy and whimsy of a King's Quest game, and it was supposed to have the humor of a Monkey Island game, but it just kind of falls flat. It almost comes across as a parody of both of these games put together. I feel like it even shamelessly takes specific puzzles from other Sierra games. Here's the magpie and the tree puzzle from King's Quest VII. We have a river Styx puzzle from King's Quest VI. There's the giving food to a hungry bird so it will help you from King's Quest V, and honestly the whole feel is very King's Questy. They even have their own Land of the Mists, which reminds me of the Isle of the Mists from King's Quest VI. I can also tell they went for a somewhat bumbling, kind of thrown into the situation type of a character, a Guybrush Threepwood type, or maybe even more so a Roger Wilco type. These things are all so obvious that I kept wondering if it was supposed to be some kind of satire. But the fact that I can't tell whether it's satire or a failed attempt at a fantasy story is probably not great. Even if some of these elements were supposed to be a direct parody of a trope or something from another adventure game, that doesn't exactly make it fun to play. But like I said, I can't tell. I'm thinking there's not some poignant point to be taken away from this though. Sometimes it feels like there was a very earnest attempt at making a great game. Some of the dialogue isn't bad, the narrator is surprisingly pleasant to listen to.
Quickthorpe is not scared of ghosts, but he's going to have a hard time getting into the old house.
But most of it is just decidedly off.
Would you like a soggy possum?
Would I? And for an adventure game, it just doesn't feel all too grand. Even when you die, you don't get an end screen or anything. It just keeps running until you restore, as if it doesn't really matter. You're dead now, you get nothing. Fable, a game for nihilists. When you defeat enemies, they just kind of die. Here's a venomous evil snake ready to strike at any moment. Watch me, the hero, as I get ready to gallantly defeat this vile, slithering monster. Oh. Okay. That was easy. The puzzles are on the easy side, nothing to write home about. Mostly because I've done them before in other games. There isn't any music in this game, so the beautiful settings have no ambience. Compare these songless scenes to something, again, like the point-and-click King's Quest games, which have beautiful songs that change depending on where you are. It's what gives the game so much personality and distinguishes each screen from the next. Now listen to Fable. There's only some sound effects and they're usually distracting, not complimentary. Nostalgia alert! I remember seeing screenshots for this game on Home of the Underdogs when I was younger, and they really captured my interest. I couldn't wait to play it, but I couldn't get it running at the time. Now I see that was probably for the better, because I would have been disappointed. That's really the perfect word for this title. Disappointing. The US and UK versions have different endings, both completely lackluster. The UK ending was met with some backlash for being too dark. I didn't understand it like most of this story, but apparently this ending shows Quickthorpe in some sort of asylum or prison, implying that the entire story was just made up or possibly an illusion. This would definitely explain the Figment character I mentioned earlier, otherwise it would have been completely pointless. My version, the US version, just shows Quickthorpe heading back to town and having sex with his girlfriend. It was so abrupt and not rewarding. You know how it made me feel? It made me feel like this. I do think adventure games, especially ones that fall in the fantasy category, are hard to write. It really is more than just throwing eccentric characters here and there. There's a lot to consider. So I give the devs some credit for trying, but it just doesn't work. Even if they were going for some kind of spoof game meant to poke fun at its predecessors, it just still doesn't work. I can't really recommend this game because it doesn't fall into the so bad it's good category, but if you'd like to admire it from afar, then you'll always have my video. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video on Fable. I hope you enjoyed what appears to be 10 minutes of ranting. If you want to see more game reviews, then check out your screen. I put some links there for your consideration. If you want to tell me about your disappointing gaming experiences, then leave a comment or check the description for my social media pages. And as always, see you guys in the next one.